Now we want to talk about how to lead a meeting via Zoom or Teams and be super engaging. Can we all agree that boring Zoom and team meetings should be illegal? Yes? Okay, good. I know most of us kind of dread the idea of being in a lengthy Zoom or Teams meeting because we already know where it's going to go. So no wonder that many people turn their cameras off so that they can do other things. And if they have their camera on, they might still be doing other things, and there's nothing you as a leader can do about it because you are trapped behind your camera, right? So I can be on my phone texting, but you can't do anything about it. Nah. I've heard leaders say it's easier in a real room because I know at least I've got their attention. But it's hard on camera because people are free to do what they want and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to question that assumption. Is that even true? Is that really true? They are also free to do what they want in a room with you. But we do have an interesting social contract with other humans whereby we tend to not do that if somebody is watching us. All right, so if I feel watched, I'm less likely to take my phone out and go on my TikTok quickly. I never actually, let's forget TikTok or LinkedIn. With that adult now is LinkedIn. Maybe Instagram. Maybe just checking our order status. Anyway, there's two sections here. Number one, how do you as the leader not get affected by their behavior? And number two, how do you engage them so that they don't even want to check their order status on whichever platform they are using at the time? Those are the two things that we need to talk about and solve. So, first off, what happens to you when you notice that your audience is disengaging? Stress response, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn is kicking right in. Your neurofrontal cortex is shutting down. Your breathing will likely change. You won't be present in the moment the way you would be if you knew things are going great, right? And that is literally the biggest difference. When we feel that things are going great, we become present because there's no other place we want to be. We want to be here where it's great. But when we're having a stress response or when we're feeling we're not quite in the right place, we're losing them, we don't know, am I good enough? I think I'm not good enough. Oh my God, they hate me. Oh, it's not going good. It's not going well. Then I don't want to be in this place anymore. In fact, I don't want to be in my body anymore. So a part of your consciousness just goes, woof. Have you ever had that feeling where you're observing yourself? You're going through the motions over here, but you're really over there thinking, who is this person even? That's performance-induced identity distortion at its best, right? So that's when it happens. So the first thing we need to do is work with your nervous system to be able to start enjoying yourself when you're leading the meeting. Let's put it this way. If you already hate doing the meeting via the camera, how can you expect the other people to enjoy it? Let's look at the word leadership. Doesn't leadership include the idea that you are leading? Hence, your energy goes first. And this is where I see leaders getting a little bit confused. When they say it's easier to present on stage than on camera, what they're saying is, I can feed off the energy in the room. I can really bounce off the energy. Hang on a minute. So you're telling me that you're using the energy of the audience to feed your own energy. That's like trying to tell the fire to burn for you without putting in the logs. You have to put in the logs so the fire can burn. Of course, you can warm yourself from the fire, but it's your job to feed the fire and tend to the fire. So it's your job as the leader to lead with your energy, and then if there is the warmth to be reciprocated, enjoy that, bask in the glow by all means. So on Teams or Zoom, you have to probably lead with a whole lot more energy than you would in a room. Or maybe that's just what you think. At least the point is you need to lead with your energy. If you don't like it and you've decided you don't like it, I can talk here until the cows come home. And there are no cows in London that I've seen so far. So that's a lot of talking. And nothing will change. The first point lies in your decision to start enjoying this. Well, how can I enjoy it when I don't like it? I'm just lying to myself. Well, this is where the training comes in. So when do you enjoy something? When you know, for example, that it brings the results that you want. when you know that you're going to get the feedback that you need, when you know you're getting the things done or you're building what you need to be building. So you want to create a bigger perspective for yourself to find a reason to start liking this. That's number one. Again, there's going to be so much more nuance. I'd love to go with you into this. This is just a short series, but when we work together, we will find the reasons to make this enjoyable and more likely. You know how they say, where there's a will, there's a way. Sometimes it's also the other way around. Where there's a way, there's a will. So once you see how much fun this can be, your enjoyment will follow naturally. So that's number one. You need to lead with your energy. Number two, how do we teach them to be attentive to us? How do we engage them in a way that they're feeding us with the energy that we like? Now, I have a performance background. I do love an audience reaction and interaction. How do we get our audience to act and interact with us when they're on a screen? One way to do that is you can ask for what you need at the beginning of your session. You can say, we're going to have a 30 minutes meeting where we're going to be discussing 1, 2, 3. What I need you to do is come on camera, please. If there's a reason you can't be on camera, could you eliminate that reason where possible? Obviously, if you're in the car driving, the question is why you're in the car driving, you're at work, but depending on what your context is, please don't come on camera if you're actively moving around. If it's at all possible to go into a space where you can be still, I would very much appreciate that. I would like to see everybody on camera. Give yourself the time of undivided attention. This is important because it will save us all time. We will all understand more of what we're doing, and this becomes a real collaboration. Also, let's face it, if you're doing something else and you're not really present with things, it's never going to be interesting, and we're all disengaging. But the whole point of this presentation is that we are collaborating and moving A, B, C, D, E forward. Would it be okay with you to all come on camera and be present for the next 30 minutes? Can I see your hands up? Ask them to put their hands up. Use the interactive features as much as you can. And so if you do that also throughout your presentation, you will get people more engaged because they know there's something that they're being asked to do. You can also employ the words of, I'm just looking around the room. Then everybody feels watched. And you know what happens when we feel watched? We spring into action. People don't behave the same way when they feel watched. Okay, so you have the right to ask them to come on camera. Now, I hear you say, but wait a minute, what about those seminars where people aren't on camera because there's 200 of them and it's literally just me presenting? That's scenario number 3. That requires a different technique. Right now, I'm speaking to you and you're not there nodding or not nodding at me. So how do we keep an interaction going when the person is not directly interacting with you? That is another technique and another skill. So the theory of that, how you do it, is that you're creating a dialogue in the form of a monologue. Huh? What? Huh? So you have the person that you're speaking to in mind and you're talking to them, never at them. I don't talk at a camera. I talk to you via the camera. The camera is the portal, but you are the person that I'm talking to. You are the person I want to serve. You are the person who is at my utmost center of attention. Therefore, I'm thinking about, what are you thinking about? Does that make sense to you? Is this what you need to hear? In my head, ideally, sometimes out loud, but you don't want to do it too much. That just gets weird. So I've got you in my mind and heart whilst I'm speaking to you. And even if I can't see you, I'm imagining that this is super useful for you. I'm imagining what is it that they might want to know from this point onwards. You see? So I'm thinking about us having a dialogue here. We're having a conversation in my mind, but the format is a monologue. It's just me talking here right now. And I promise you, when I come into your business, you will be doing a lot of the talking. Absolute big promise. Okay, so we wanted to clarify how to lead an engaging meeting through Zooms and Teams. And the answer is this. You need to decide that you're going to like it first, and we can help you develop that. You need to put the logs into the fire. So lead with your energy, with your enthusiasm. There must be logic behind that, right? Otherwise, we're just back into the fake enthusiasm again, which nobody likes. Create a conversation, if only in your mind. You know what else is really good? Is testing your material. Find out with some real people if what you have to say is interesting. And number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, become a fantastic storyteller. We all want to hear a good story and we want to see someone who brings it to life. If I was just reading from my script to you, it would be very different. Wait, I've written some things down. Said with conviction, leadership training works on decisions and frameworks. Presentation training works on slides and structures. Both work on content and skills. If I read to you, I'm not bringing the material to life. If you're reading off your slides, if you're hiding behind your prepared material, you're not bringing it to life. How on earth do you expect anyone to feel engaged with that? Of course they don't. Look, if you're boring, it's boring. So top tip, don't be boring. How do we do that? By developing narrative influence. Become a great storyteller. Have stories that bring it to life. Feel what you're saying as important. And that means that you have the passion to actually want to say it. I was once asked in a seminar, how do I bring points across that I don't actually believe in? And I had to think for a minute. And I thought, am I going to talk about acting? Or am I not? And guess what? I'm not. Because the last thing we want is turn you into an actor. You are a leader in your business. And so if you are not agreeing with something that you're tasked to say, your job as a leader is to stand up. Stand up for yourself, stand up for it, and make sure that what you're saying is congruent with what you believe in. That is hugely important if you want to improve on your leadership presence and on your impact. You cannot be impactful when you're talking rubbish. It's kind of that simple. Now that we've learned the basics on how to be more engaging on teams, the question becomes, how can you become so authentically you that people can't resist listening and watching everything you say? And that's what we're going to talk about in our next episode. Stay tuned.